Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm hoping I'm going to offer you a bit more of an insight into how to win competitively with shared space and warehousing. Firstly, I thought I would validate some of this information by letting you know a little bit about who I am. So firstly, I set Logistics Solutions Group up in 2019 with nearly 20 years experience in logistics, largely fixing problems, resolving things that didn't quite go to plan. And if logistics was a game, it would definitely be Tetris. I think we nailed it. So everyone here today, if you've ever worked on the coalface, will completely understand how having that background has helped get to a place today where we can help you move fast at pace. So touch on that background a bit more. So 17 to 18 years experience, although I'm going to stop counting soon because it seems to be going faster than I care. I've worked within 3PL environments. I've implemented major plans within networks, click and collect, supported with major food brands as far as delivering projects, retaining costs or maintaining costs. But more specifically, my focus here today is to help you understand how we can all do better with clever collaboration. So I'm really going to focus on that moving forward. I think just to looking around the room and give everyone a good idea of who I'm looking to speak to today and who I think is really going to benefit from this conversation is I think there's an element that brands and retailers have a great opportunity to really look at maximising resources in a safe place, utilising and maximising the assets that they have. Anyone that's a budget holder, influencer, or really keen to strip out costs so they can maximise the revenue that you have to explore and develop products, it's going to be a great bit of information today and hopefully offer you some comfort. We have a stand at the very end of the hall, so happy to talk in any more detail with anybody else at the end of this, or any of your peers. Ultimately, it is fair to say that a lot of 3PLs are already doing this, although some of them are still really, really nervous. And actually, we're working with major players as well as the small, medium enterprises to work through some of those. I'm going to come on to that further. I think if we summarise 2020 to 2022, probably a lot of things we didn't see coming probably hit us really fast and hard. So I think for me, a lot of us developed skills that we didn't expect. I, for one, definitely understand that most of us became things that we never thought we would have to be, and my children will never thank me for the haircuts that came as a result. More specifically, to list everything that happened in the last few years, especially those that were totally unprecedented and we didn't see coming, just goes to show the actual capabilities that people in logistics have and how quickly we can turn these solutions on. So I think for me, rather than going through the exhaustive list of all of the experiences that we had, let's focus on how we actually move forward, what it means to us today. So I specialise in, I would call it grey space. So storage for me, pallet storage, warehouse, looking at acquiring sites, sharing space and sites. And just as a metric for me that really stands out, and if I was going to lose sleep, it would definitely be over this stat. Pallet storage went from £2 per pallet to £6 in some of the sites. Significant costs. Can anyone else hear? Do you want me to dance and sing? Yeah, lovely, okay. So I'll hold those for you. So I think storage, knowing that tripled in some areas, it just goes to show that at that point, it wasn't actually the base price. It was actually the opportunity to charge more that a lot of people caught hold of. And I think that realistically drove the demand that we're seeing and the challenges that we're seeing today. So when we look at tenancy, leases and storage, there was an opportunity for landlords to charge more. There's an opportunity for everyone to charge a little bit more and really recover some of the previous investments. So I think transport probably being hurt first and foremost when we lost a lot of people through IR35. We had more opportunity to work, less people to do it. So although it sounds like a great challenge, it was a great challenge for everyone nonetheless. Just take a minute to look at the slide. When we look at the cost of logistics, anyone here who has a product that they're storing, something they need to move, an item they're looking to sell, just looking at the base rate cost on A-grade sites across the UK increased by nearly 18% in 1 year. So if we now know that these sites, anyone that took a site in that period, it was grade A, is likely to be facing into a challenge that their base rate cost jumped, as well as labour and everything that went with those changes, significantly and disproportionately across the years prior. So I think there's some really interesting information there. We can look at that in a more regionalised element. So if we look really, the east of England took the biggest hit on a 30% increase on their base costs as far as their rental increase. Again, this is grade A, so there are variations on grade B and C sites, but fundamentally, anybody that took on a lease at that point was looking at a significantly increased cost base. I'm not going to spend too much time on this graph because I think if you look at the average cost per container globally, creeping up to where we hit as far as COVID, don't like to say that word out loud anymore, but you can see a significant change where there was an opportunity to receive unprecedented gains, shall we say, and benefits with regards to shipping lines. So I will leave that one there because if I talk too much about it, I tend to get myself into trouble. So I'm going to move on to sharing. Cost bases went up significantly, profits were made, and ultimately, we, the retailers, the brands and the consumers, we feel that and see that cost. It's all built into what we're doing today. I'm not going to go through this, you'll be pleased to know. I'm going to leave this up on the wall for you to have a look at, and again, anyone can have access to this after. But there's some really interesting stats around EBITDA increasing from 2.6% up to 57%. That is significant, and if anyone could build that operational growth in outside of that, I think we'd love to have a conversation as far as benefits. So in summary, increased cost base, 3PLs, brands, everyone that has to store, costs have gone up. Rents, inflation, utilities, we're expecting rates are going to hit in April, but we'll have to watch this space. And yet now we're facing higher costs than ever before, and we're all seeing a drop in demand. So I think if we're looking at late 2022, we're already seeing the trend downwards, and we know already January is following kind of earlier marks with regards to volumes. My focus here today is around how do we move past these? So we know that the costs are where they are, and we know that the volumes are volatile. So how do we actually all move together, and what does clever collaboration mean? For me, clever collaboration is where two parties work together. There's a mutual benefit, but there are challenges around how to make that work. It means that you can maximise your investment, reduce your costs, and overall improve your ability to deliver to your end clients and deliver a service that they're expecting with an improved cost base. So that's the why. What I really want to help you understand is how do you do that? I think when you're looking at the fact that we've got so many challenges in 2023, you know that brands and warehouses can already work together. We're already aware of that, but what is that next step? So I represent an industry of brokers. So we work with brands, we offer anonymity, we can support you in identifying a number of warehouses at speed, and we can help you understand who can fit that solution best. And also, most brokers are unbiased and can offer you a fast view of the industry. And this played out really well in my head, so I'm hoping we've got some gigglers in the room because I'm doing some research. I started using ChatGPT. So it turns out that as it sells itself, it clearly interacts in a conversational way, answers follow-up questions, admits mistakes, challenges incorrect premise, and rejects inappropriate requests. So it's clearly better behaved than my children. But what it does actually offer is a few interesting bits of information. If you haven't already looked at working with brokers, there's absolutely an opportunity to look at how you can do this and just understand a bit more about what they can do. I think people are quite fearful when it comes to your product, quite fearful about your service and your delivery. Just the idea of using other people's services to fulfill your delivery for some is too much of a challenge to bear, too much of a worry to overcome. And I guess my position here today is to let you know that you can. There are ways to do it, and there are ways that you can actually move forward, strip out costs and still improve on your delivery. So we already touched on a few of the barriers here, most specifically and in order really of the intensity of the blocker. Anything that is legal, legislative blockers, you're looking at competition law, for example. So where we've worked with some of our automotive partners, there are some very clear lines that just cannot be overcome as far as legalities. Regulatory, again, this is more where you're looking at working with healthcare companies, food, or anything that, but again, there are ways that we can overcome them and the ways that we can help you work through those. And then company policy. So I think really moving swiftly on, the biggest barrier across everything is trust. So how can you build a relationship with a partner you don't know, go to market with anonymity, and actually come back with solutions that you can review in detail without investing a huge amount of time and delaying the process in doing so? And the answer is to look out to brokers and see if they can support you with that journey. There is absolutely a way that you can do all of that at pace. And actually, for most brokers, there's no cost to engage unless they find you a solution. So times have changed. There's absolutely an opportunity now to look at how you can continue with your brand, continue the awareness, continue with the sensitivity in the journey that your clients and partners are expecting to believe. So for me, if you want to know more, I'm really here today, not just to talk to you about my business, but to make you aware of an industry that's absolutely there and built for these kind of times and can help people move forward in a really fantastic way. but don't take my word for it just yet. What I really want to do is show you 3 examples of what we've personally done with partners to help them move forward in what I would call a clever fashion, and certainly a collaborative way. So for me, really, the highlight here is when you've got a relationship where you've got growth without restrictions and access without limitations, really just wanting to hold on to those words and what that could really mean to your business or anyone in your business that has a P&L that you know you could positively impact. One of our particular partners engaged with us early in 2021. They have gone from having 0 pallets, 0 contracts, 0 clients to a 4.5 million turnover in 18 months. We've helped them secure 3 warehouses without lease and onerous agreements, without 15-year commitments, and we've allowed them to remove themselves from having heavy deposits up front. They've gone from 0 to 4.5 because they're able to work with partners that can offer them the capacity to do so. And we're passionate about opening those doors for our partners too. Another example of where we're working at the moment is one of our retail partners. We're not just focused on SMEs. One of ours is a 400 million turnover business. We're working with them, introducing them to retailers that are going to strip potentially up to 50% of their final mile delivery costs, which is sizable in any organisation, but it's absolutely available, absolutely an option to do. And with regards to the regulatory, we're working with a major healthcare provider to provide hub and spoke solutions across the UK. So if you want us in Aberdeen or Penzance, we can absolutely find a space, put clever operations in that can reduce cost, improve time and your ability to serve. So whether you have space or need it, we can help. Most brokers are absolutely free to engage. I'm happy to have a chat with anyone on our stand to talk about other bodies that do something similar. And my role here really today is I'm passionately, really passionate about making you aware of what can be done. There are so many options and so many ways to work and so many different parties out there that if we can do anything today but just make you aware that costs can be saved, opportunities can be made, then I'd be delighted to help. So thank you.